Stewart, we were talking off camera a little bit about the Korean diaspora. Obviously, this is one of the strong points in any Canadian trade relationship, understanding how a diaspora in Canada can be a force of good because of their own understanding of their home country or their former country. Do you get that sense in Canada-Korea trade relationship as well?
Again, we have a really active and I think important Korean diaspora in the country. A lot of them came to Canada originally for education, which again is what I would say the front edge of the wedge in many ways of our relationships in Asia. So, you take a look at the Indian diaspora now. It's huge, but that's translated into the education sector, which is a great exporting sector for us, by the way. Mm-hmm. And the same thing is true with Korea. Certainly, from my own experience on the Korea file, we had a huge number of Korean students come to Canada a number of years ago, and that many stayed. And of course, what the diaspora does, as you said, it's understanding the market and how you go about doing it. But most importantly, it's the network that they bring. And, friends, family, student, high school colleagues, these are all people that can be useful to you in that process. So the Canada-Korea Business Association would be a good place to be able to meet people that have that type of linkage into the Korean market. And again, it's always best to triangulate in the context of what you're doing. So we have great people on the ground in Korea at the Canadian Embassy and the Trade Commissioner Service, but also being able to work with them and other people here in Canada so you can get yourself prepared before you go to that market, and you don't waste time looking for for the best type of entry point. You can kind of do your homework before you go, and that's particularly true as a result of COVID and relying on doing things remotely. That's going to change a lot the way business is going to be done going forward. Like what we're doing now. I mean, this is all very important.
Oh, so you're saying that, I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but when I think of sort of a new trade initiative, there's always a Team Canada mission, 2 plane loads of business people going over, and the Prime Minister is there leading the mission. Is that still going to happen, or is it going to be more of these Zoom calls, or how does it work?
Well, I'll give you an example. So the foundation out of our office in Toronto has led women's entrepreneurship missions to Asia. We've done 2. The first one was to Korea, and it was focused on the caring economy. And we had a group of very active Canadian women entrepreneurs that we connected with people in Korea. It was all done over Zoom. Okay, so it was interesting to watch how those sessions operated. We had speakers at the beginning, and then we had business to business type of arrangements with rooms, and all done through Zoom. And so you can imagine what the cost differential is on doing something like that. And again, if one of the things that we developed as part of that exercise, part of it is from my own background being as a trade commissioner myself, is you want to be as targeted as you possibly can. And we developed a website for the women entrepreneurs to be able to identify where in Korea that they should be looking at building their business, what types of companies, where the incubator accelerators are, all the various things that you would need to understand as a business person in the technology space. And again, it was all done remotely, and the success from that has been quite good. So kudos to our team in Toronto; they did a great job, and then we followed that up with a similar women's entrepreneurship mission to Taiwan.
Okay, and typically, or maybe it's still in an infancy, but at some point, would they then tie that up in terms of having sort of on the ground meetings, or is it all done virtually at this point?
This is the beauty of it, because in some ways you think of it as a pilot.
Yeah.
So here you are doing these things remotely. You establish the relationships. You become much more targeted in your ability to work with the Trade Commissioner Service in the country. And then again, once we can travel more freely, you really sign. You can go either way. You can either go to Korea or they can come here, but you can take it to the next level. Because it's one thing to establish a relationship. What's most important is how you scale it, right? And that requires a certain degree of personal to personal interaction to make that happen. And I say the biggest challenge that we have in the Zoom environment is it's two-dimensional. And I think you know this from your own experience. It's that third dimension that makes all the difference. It's being able to have that dinner, it's being able to have a chance to meet somebody in a way that's much more, hospitable.